Microphone check, 1 2 1 2. Microphone check, 1 2 1 2. Sorry about that, guys. I've been dealing with a little bit of a cold for the past 2 days, and no, I believe it is not COVID-19. I tested myself last night and it read negative. But for today's video, I am going to try standing up because I thought it'd be fun and spontaneous. And for those of you wondering, yes, I am wearing shorts right now. And I know I wore this shirt in my Ken Carson review video. Well, I recorded that video well over a week ago, and fortunately the shirt is clean now and I can wear it, and I just so happened to already be wearing it before I recorded this video today. But today is Friday, and unfortunately it looks like we did not get a new Playboi Carti album like we have been expecting for, like, I guess you could say the past month or few weeks now. I don't know how long people have been following this for, but I've pretty much been following this since that Sunday I did that big live stream that went crazy. I'm thinking the last possible day on which we can get this album before the tour starts is next Friday. Well, obviously I think that's the only day that we can get this album on before the tour starts. Like I've mentioned in previous videos, though, if we don't get it next Friday, the only other time we can get it at would be in the future, so like either during the tour or after the tour, but more than likely, if he does drop the album, it would come out after the tour, because, I mean, it just kind of doesn't make sense to drop an album during your tour. But that's not what this video is about, guys. Today I am going to be talking about features on Narcissist, what we're hoping to hear, what we're expecting to hear, and I'm going to kind of tell this from my perspective, you know, share what I want to hear and what I'm expecting and my thoughts. I'm also going to switch this mic hand to my left hand, because you can only imagine what I've been doing with my right arm slash hand recently for it to be tired. Yeah, it's totally from, you know, working out extra hard and playing CSGO. But I mean, there isn't really anything necessarily confirmed regarding features on Narcissist. I mean, we can only really predict things and make educated guesses, but there are no confirmations for this album. I think one of the most confirmed things would be that Digital Nas is executively producing the album. I guess you could say it's pretty confirmed at this point. I mean, he's been talking about it himself on social media. A whole lot of other people have been saying this and speculating this, and it seems very, very likely that he will be executively producing it, but not sure what to expect for if Digital Nas executively produces this album. Maybe he will actually, like, produce some of the tracks himself. But to be honest, I'm not way too familiar with Digital Nas's work. I'm sure I've heard his work on songs and I just didn't know it. But yeah, once again, not really sure what to expect, and I am looking forward to seeing his involvement in this album. If I pull up my little notepad here, which, by the way, this video isn't scripted, I'm just pulling up notes so I remember what to talk about. But yeah, I've got this up now. And I just want to talk a little bit more about production features, and then I'll talk about actual, like, vocal features, like who we're going to expect to hear from, like, you know, in terms of, like, vocal features that you'll actually see on the track list. On Whole Lotta Red, there was a production trio that actually really stood out to me, and it consisted of Art Dealer, Out of Town, and Starboy. This production trio actually produced a few of my favorite tracks on Whole Lotta Red, like King Vamp, Die for Guy, and Control. I think right there, that might be like my top 3 favorite tracks on Whole Lotta Red. If not, I'm debating between Control and Die for Guy being my favorite track on Whole Lotta Red. I'm not sure which one of those two it is, but I would really like to see this production trio produce at least one track on Narcissist. If we don't get this production trio on there, I'd be okay with that, but I do still want to see work from these producers on this album. Like, if we don't get at least 1 or 2 or even 3 tracks from Out of Town, Starboy, or Art Dealer, or, you know, the 3 of them all together, I'm going to be very disappointed. But moving on, another prevalent producer on Whole Lotta Red, or I don't even know if you want to consider those 3 producers prevalent on Whole Lotta Red that I just mentioned, but I know there's one producer that was really prevalent on Whole Lotta Red, and that was Wake Up Filthy, or just Filthy. He produced tracks like Rockstar Made, obviously the opening track, New Tank on that time, and I believe 1 or 2 others, maybe 3 more tracks on Whole Lotta Red. Obviously, his sound works great with Carti's new aesthetic that he's been pushing in some of his newer music, like obviously on Whole Lotta Red. But I think they work really well together. I think we're definitely going to hear some new Filthy production on Narcissist, and I think it's going to sound great. Oh yeah, how can I forget? He produced Stop Breathing. Producer Richie South produced 2 tracks on Whole Lotta Red. He may have produced 3, but I'm pretty sure he only produced Jump Out the House and the closing track, Feel Like Dying. I really like Jump Out the House. I know some people don't really like it. I'm kind of losing my voice as I'm saying this right now. Sorry about that. But I know not a lot of people liked Jump Out the House too much. I personally really like the idea of Jump Out the House. I think it's a genius track. I like the production on it too. Feel Like Dying is kind of a mediocre track for me. It's probably lower on my list of Whole Lotta Red tracks. Like, it may be one of my least favorite. But I would like to hear more sounds from Richie. I'd like to hear him work again with Carti, and I think he's definitely going to have some role in this album, as he has been pretty active on social media recently. He actually made a tweet like a couple days ago, I think, and people think that it is alluding to him working with Carti as well as Future on a song. So with that in consideration, we may also get another feature from Future, which I can't complain about. I enjoyed his feature on Teen X, and once again, like I kind of already said, I look forward to hearing new sounds from Richie, and I hope he makes it onto the Narcissist album, but I think more than likely he will. I feel like I heard where this came from, but I keep forgetting where this came from, but there is speculation that Ken Carson is going to be involved in this album. Like I mentioned in my last video, or one of my last videos, he produced 1 track on Whole Lotta Red, but I think that he will get a vocal feature on Narcissist, and I wouldn't mind that. Even if he doesn't, I'd be okay with that. Maybe he'll just produce a track on Narcissist, like how, you know, he just produced 1 track on Whole Lotta Red. Maybe he'll produce a couple tracks, I don't know. Maybe he won't do any production. Maybe he will only do a vocal feature. But if he makes it on the album, I'd be pretty happy about that. I'd look forward to seeing how he works with Carti, because I don't think there are any songs out yet that have Carti and Ken on the same track. I might be wrong, correct me if I am, but as far as I am aware, I have not heard them on a track together, except for, you know, unless you consider Ken's production with Carti's vocals on Beano. But talking about actual vocal features now, which we may see in the track list. I know I already kind of just mentioned Ken Carson, I mentioned Future, but just getting a little bit more into that aspect of this album. So I think we will be seeing Lil Uzi Vert featured on this album. He was pretty active on social media recently. He made an Instagram story post that said Vamps Only, which it's pretty old at this point. I think a lot of us know about that. But then he was also spotted wearing Narcissist merch with Carti in public. I mean, what more do we need to assume that he's going to be on this album? And another thing to consider is that he didn't have a feature on Whole Lotta Red, and we haven't heard him work with Carti since his Shoot a feature on Die Lit. I would like to hear Uzi work with Carti again, since it's been a few years since we last heard them together. And I mean, Lil Uzi Vert is Lil Uzi Vert. I mean, come on, like, who doesn't want to hear him on a song? I'd like to hear Kanye West on another Playboi Carti track too. I personally really enjoyed his feature on Whole Lotta Red. I think his feature may have been the best feature of like the 3 listed features that were on it. Okay, maybe he and Future are at a close tie for me in terms of performance on Whole Lotta Red. But I think Kanye may have been a little better on Whole Lotta Red than Future. And I would like to hear him, like I said, on another Carti track. I mean, obviously he executively produced all of Whole Lotta Red. If it was Cap for some reason that Digital Nas was executively producing it and then it turned out to be Kanye again, I wouldn't mind that either. But yeah, I personally am hoping for another Kanye feature on this Narcissist album. I mean, he was on Whole Lotta Red. He featured Carti on his Donda project. And I mean, yeah, I'm sure they're still in contact. I'm sure they're still working together, or they already have a song planned for this album. I've got a few more features, though. 3 more people that I want to talk about that aren't speculated to be on this album or anything, but just people that I want to hear on this album and that I think would be interesting to hear. So first off, Chief Keef. I don't think Chief Keef and Carti have worked together recently. I don't think they're like in contact or doing anything together at the moment. But I just loved Chief Keef's feature on Mileage from Die Lit, and I would kill to hear him on another Carti track and just hear him on the same track as Carti. For me though, that Mileage verse is just so fire. Always hits differently, like never misses any time I put that song on. And I mean, we may never hear anything like that again. But next up, number 2, I included Young Lean in sort of my desired / speculated features for this album. Because I like Young Lean, I think he's pretty cool. Also, he was supposed to include Carti in his Yayo track from his most recent album Stars that dropped last year. But I think because of label issues, he wasn't able to include Carti on like the official track of the official album on streaming services. If you get the vinyl of that album though, you can hear Carti's verse. But considering that, maybe Carti and Young Lean will redeem themselves, and Young Lean will make it onto an official Carti track, and we'll actually be able to hear him or hear both of them together on a streaming platform. Not really sure where I was going with that statement, but basically what I wanted to say is hopefully, you know, we'll be able to gain easy access to them being on a song together, unlike with the track Yayo. I would like to hear how they synergize though, how they would work together on a track. Maybe how like Carti would finish his verse and how Young Lean would transition into his, or vice versa. You know, Young Lean would be giving us a verse and then Carti, you know, transitions. I don't really know. I probably don't even know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I want to hear a track that includes both Young Lean and Carti officially. But finally, I wanted to talk about an artist that I personally don't really know much about at all. But RX Peso, you guys may have heard of him. He was actually supposed to be on a Carti song called Money and Drugs. There's snippets out of this song on YouTube that you can find. I think it sounds really cool, and there's like a 7-second snippet or something of RX Peso rapping on this beat, and honestly, like, if I could just get a whole verse that sounded like that, I would be so happy. Like, it just sounded so amazing. Like, I don't really know what he was saying, but it just sounded good. And like, if he was on a song with Carti, and even if, you know, that song doesn't come out or that verse doesn't come out, like, just hearing his sound with Carti's sound on like the type of beat that they had going, I would definitely be glad to hear that, and I definitely wouldn't mind if that took up a spot on the track list. But that's gonna wrap it up for this video, guys. I actually recorded another version of this video before, but it just ended up being way too long, and I'm trying to make my videos shorter because I know I tend to talk a lot, and I know my videos can kind of drag. So yeah, I tried to keep this one a little bit shorter. I think I got my point across though with, you know, my speculated features and my thoughts and everything and whatnot. But if you stuck around to the end of this video, guys, I appreciate that. Be sure to look out for new videos. I'm going to switch the mic over back to my left hand again, but be sure to look out for new videos. I know I said I'd be streaming quite often, though I haven't in like at least a week, and I apologize for that. There will be streams coming again soon, so look out for that. Thanks again, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are regarding features for the Narcissist album in the comments. Thank you for all of the recent support. Have a good rest of your day, and peace.